and hasn't been working thus far.
And we're not excited about the Jhin, but Jhin does have a way better matchup to Varus, because how many times have we seen a Kai'Sa, especially into a Varus Brom lane, right? Well, Varus with the Halo Blades, the threat of Winter's Bite, you know Carriaz are not going to be able to actually all-in, which is normally a win condition, into a lot of Varus lanes. And that's why he's compared with the Kench, with the Thresh, and in this case the Brom. But with the Jhin, you can safely lane, you can withstand a lot of the pressure, and post 6, that combination of, you know, Faker jumping in, Cos finding the back line, and all Titan needs to do is just stand in the back and throw some shots with that curtain call.
Yeah, certain. Able to assist the dive without actually being there, which is fine, because the Kai'Sa wants to dive in, and then sometimes you just get punched by a Brom and then you die, and it doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
But this is, like, I actually quite like this composition. You know, it's got a fair bit of anti-dive with the fact that the Brom exists, plus it has that poke around these objectives, sort of everything peaking at similar times, things like that, feeling like one of these 2-item compositions. On the side of T1 though, certainly a very ease of execution style composition. Keep it simple, stupid, just dive on your opponent and kill them. And I like it.
And it's good look for T1. I want T1 to move away from the more harder to execute composition, and I think while the T1 comp can always win even when put behind, I think for DRX it's going to be a lot harder. This isn't really a comp you can afford to fall behind with, because if the people on T1 get beefy and you get your Varus or your Nidalee behind, you lose a lot of poke, you lose a lot of potent power. So these solo lanes need to go well for DRX, and I'm looking especially at that mid and bot lane. I think the Gwen and the Nidalee, not the greatest, but Renekton needs an explanation, and the same can be said for that Brom in the bot lane.
Yeah, we're kind of expecting that Faker is going to have some friends visit his lane quite a few times. As Spear is going to sail past Canna majestically. They have avoided the Renekton set matchup, which definitely bodes well. However, Gwen is going to have an okay time into the set anyway, so you're not exactly too worried about that one. Plus, Sulker on the Renekton in that mid lane up against the Nocturne isn't going to suffer at all. So I think that DRX, as far as the lanes are concerned, are probably pretty happy with how this one's going. That being said, on the T1 side, it's not all doom and gloom.
Wouldn't have minded an invade here from DRX, and the Brom's level 1 is so incredibly oppressive. And T1's is also, it's not bad, but it's not amazing. You know, Leona really wants to hit level 2. Diana level 1 is not too impressive. As both junglers going to start on opposite side of the map. And we talked a little bit about what Pyosik wants to play. I think that for him, going for a strong early clear into a possible mid play is great. If Kana actually does decide to play very proactively in that lane and shove it in, that can work as well. Whereas for Cuz, into the Brom, it's not amazing, but you can always choose to try and make a play together with the Leona, and as Diana, you're also more than happy to just take it a little bit slower. I don't think either composition really needs to get stuff done in like the earlier the game. Malrang's level 2, Zinzao, Red, the top cheese gank comes to mind. But I do not want to see a situation that we've seen with both these teams for a lot of times, where it's just do nothing for like the first 10-15 minutes. That's a no-no. I don't want that. That is way too much time being given over.
Yeah, no, it is a big problem. And both of these compositions are pretty proactive, and both of these teams have been playing very scared. And it does make sense. They've been losing a lot, right? And as soon as you do that, the confidence starts to slip away. The expectations from your fans skyrocket. And that the pressure is certainly something that mounts. So hopefully both T1 and DRX can play some proactive League of Legends, as we can see Faker down relatively low here in this lane, relying on those Umbral Blades to get stuff done, as the fear will go off. Just some biffo, but Faker level 3. Pyosik is going to turn up, but it feels like Faker knows that there's something in the waters. Pyosik is going to back away.
Yeah, in the vision, also see him hovering towards his bot side. We've seen these go very poorly, where the player is hovering, but then still walks up to the wave and then just gets CC'd and then dies. So nice respect there by Faker. Plays that very, very nicely. We constantly see some poke going down, but you never actually expect to have a lot of threat. Cuz also identifies that, like, there's nothing for me to do here. And as Diana, if you go even till level 6 into a Nidalee, you'll be more than happy. Nidalee, of course, going to outpace you in terms of how fast she can clear the entire jungle, but we've seen a lot of set Diana's, Atlas, and that combo is pretty good.
also, Diana does some pretty ludicrous stuff as the game goes on as well. We haven't been too impressed with the amount of impact that Diana has early, but we also haven't been very impressed with the amount of impact T1 has early, right? So you may as well play for more of these sort of mid-game, later game styles. And hopefully the mid-game skirmishing is going to come out trumps here for T1, if you are indeed a T1 fan. As Kingen and Canna, we're going to step in here towards the top side of the map and see how they're doing. Looks like Canna's stacking away for now, as he's not going to be able to break Kingen's face. But that's all right. Got control of this wave for the moment, as Kingen's sitting on a lot of farm to pick up, so we'll have a slight advantage, I think, as this dust settles.
And not really an opportunity to get a lot done. If you're both 6 here, maybe you can make a play on that flashless Gwen, but as it stands, not enough damage available. Also, no trading really being done as of yet. And we've also seen what Gwen can do, especially once she gets her ultimate available. As you pointed out, this is a good, I think, between 10 and 14 minions, so if Kingen is able to pick up most of those, he will be in a great spot. Keria being a good support.
Yep, holding on to the wave.
Very, very nice. And this might allow them to, they do know there's a ward there because Keria got targeted. Can now go for the back, roam to mid and or top, depending on what they're looking for. Go for a play there, and if that doesn't work out, as we do see him pathing towards mid, ping is also going down, you can just easy peasy go and set up a play for Drake.
We'll see whether they do go for that, I imagine. In 2.5 minutes' time, there should be some, should be some action. We're in the LCK, so it's a bit of a weird situation, as right now there's a bit of action, but Solka's just going to get a little bit frightened and move away from Faker, as once again, Faker is well and truly on top of the situation. I believe there was a ward that was just cleared out by Pyoshik as well, control ward there, and so therefore Faker did get a heads up and isn't going to get caught out. And actually it's been pretty huge, because Pyoshik has wasted a bit of time, and that means that Cuz has been able to keep up and hasn't lost tempo in the jungle. So things have worked out here for T1 thus far when it comes to that jungle matchup. As Cuz is just able to continue that power farm while everybody else stays safe.
And I wouldn't mind a big stack. Ooh, Solka. Don't think there's really an opportunity here with Cuz being level 5, but there he goes, Ding 6.
Yeah, that's going to be the Dominus, as in goes the ulti. Paranoia comes down as Faker has to flash over, and Cuz holds on to the turret aggro beautifully, and Faker's just going to hop into the Wolf House and go home.
Very cleanly executed T1. I was a little bit worried there when I saw Faker go in, but it is Cuz that actually keeps his mid laner alive, recognizes, okay, he's going to go in on the Renekton. Need to make sure that he's fine, as Pyoshik looking for counterplay on bot side.
Yeah, Winter's Bite is going to land there onto Teddy, who will have to flash immediately to get himself out of the way. Good respect to come through from the T1 AD carry. Might have been able to use Cleanse instead, but wanted to make sure that he got rid of as much distance as possible. Just frustrating to deal with the Braum when you have the Cleanses. We'll check this one out one more time.
It's as clean as it gets, right? Faker, yes, he gets stunned, yes, he gets targeted, but Cuz recognizes I am full health, I have my shield available, uses it specifically to tank the turret shots.
That replay flash, by the way, was very strange. Faker did actually move when he flashed. That was just one of those visual bugs that we sometimes have, I'm pretty sure. So just in case you were wondering whether he flashed on the spot. Solka in trouble yet again. No, but it's Faker, as I wasn't paying attention for a moment, and the Nocturne's just dead. So the follow-up gank is good from Pyoshik.
I feel like with these Renekton Italy games, we get like one reminder every game where it's like, oh yeah, that's why this is picked. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but in this case we're treated to it rather early. As we see Cuz pathing towards bot side now, might be opportunity for T1. Like I said, I want to see those early Drakes. I feel like T1 really need to reprioritize there, as Faker, Solka waits out the spell shield, or procs it rather, and then goes in for the W.
Also he's dead.
Yeah, not a lot to be done there, as Kana.
Yeah, Pyoshik paying another visit is going to land the spear, and Kana is just dead. He knew it, that's why he didn't flash. Heads up play there, but still is going to go down. And DRX early game working out very, very well. Certainly playing like the team with nothing to lose, and that is exactly how they should be playing.
And T1 now 2 times in a row, giving up a lot. Imminent collapse here on top of Pyoshik, and they can't give up this Herald. I'm happy that T1 is contesting this, but they need to do it cleanly.
Yep, teleports come through pretty far away from Kana. He's going to have to pick up this wave first. Sulka moving on in. Over goes Becca, and we've got 80 carries on the bottom side. Teddy's rotating up first, but we don't know whether he'll be here in time as Shelly does reset. So it looks like DRX are going to give this one up by the looks of things, with the fact that Bao is on the
teleport.
All right, don't know whether this is the commitment that they really want, with the fact that Teddy can just curtain call from the mid lane, but they will still go for it. Sulka standing on a ward right now, as it is going to be TWon that lock down the Herald. Now they start off this fight as a face breaker. On to King and is good. They get him away from the wall and will be able to take him down for the second kill for TWon. This is what we want to see. And now it's a teleport immediately behind Bao. He's got no mana as well, as the Dustbringer will connect, and this should just be pretty comfy. Yeah, Bao not going to be able to get towards Sulka. That's a great map play from Faker as well, just to get even more from that play.
And it's just really well done by TWon. They recognize that DRX, they get are not really ready, as you pointed out. With Teddy's roam, just a curtain call adds a lot of pressure, and that's going to be your first turret blood. And this is exactly what the doctor ordered for TWon. A healthy dose of early game, first turret blood picked up by 10 minutes. Now hold on to that momentum. Don't get afraid if one of your plays doesn't work out. It's fine, just don't get baited into inactivity.
There's the fear. Doesn't actually do too much though, as Faker makes it underneath his turret. Dominus still running here, and Sulka is going to get the respect that he deserves, as Faker is just going to back away from this turret. Some plates going over to the Crocodile. Certainly good news, but looks like Pioshik should be able to get towards the Drake on a reset from TWon. And this goes against kind of what you were talking about, Chronicler, with a wish for TWon to put a little bit more priority on these scaly lizard flying things.
I still think I'll take it because, honestly, just because of that bot side play rather from Faker, where he's able to pick up Bao. I think otherwise, at this point, that trade might not be fully worth it, because you gave up 2 plates on the bot side, as Bao wasn't in that fight. As I don't know how we're going back to this. That's
we're a long time in the past right now.
Not a lot to be done. Kana, as you pointed out, good he holds the flash. Not anything to be done though. Really. And they get a really nice reset here. And knowing Teddy is there, you always go for this. There's really no thing that DRX can reliably do. And I don't know, this is kind of the indecision that DRX have shown a lot, and that they can't really afford to. If you can't as much dive and hard engage as this, right? You know you're going to be down a guy, just back off. Don't, like, they have the objective. Immediately recognize that. Back off. You're going to be in a much better spot.
Well, we're looking at Sulka getting dove here towards the bottom side of the map. Faker is going to be able to get out of turret range, and Becca not going to be enough to stop him, as Cuz just takes the last possible turret shot that he can, and Faker is going to grab some crockery here from the bottom outer turret. I like it a lot. Canna now is the one that is in the furnace, but it looks like Pioshik not wanting to go for it, and kind of giving as much respect over as possible, as Pioshik might find Teddy. Spear is going to connect, and this should be the kill. Is Teddy able to flash his way out, but the follow flash is going to be there. Spear is going to miss, as there's the captive audience, but it ain't going to be enough. Pounce and takedown, and Pioshik is going to be able to get the assassination.
And Pioshik's hit and run tactics are one of the very few things that are consistently working out for DRX here. Has 100% of the kills on his team. And even though I think this game is still looking pretty dire for DRX, with Sulka being behind on the Renekton, same can be said for Bao, even though Teddy got picked up as a whole. I feel like he's been getting a lot of golden little plates, might even it out a little bit. But at least the side lane pressure is good, as we see King and yet again show us why Gwen is just a fun champion that you can't really play into as anyone really at any point in the game.
Fun and interactive League of Legends, courtesy of Gwen there towards the top side of the map. Very much like it, as Sulka is going to be inside the turret, which is another visual bug. Getting a couple of those, which is a lot of fun. But this is just TWon, another pretty good dive. And this is Teddy getting caught out of position.
Yeah, no vision on the top side. Pioshik at that point had already cleared, looked around, and Teddy also not really anything that he could do there. I think the flash, if you know that the Nidlee's flash should never be used there, because there's just no way, right? Like with the movement speed and with the execute that she has available, no help in the general vicinity. Just not amazing, but it's not the end of the world for TWon, and that's the big thing here and a big difference with TWon thus far. that happens, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, they're making a cross-map play, right? They set up the dive, they pick up the turret. Now the two outers are gone. There's only the mid lane turret. And for now, this is looking like a much more proactive T1.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's. I was afraid that we were going to see the same kind of apathy that has really plagued them. And so far, none of that. But they've also haven't really hit a snag in the road, so still a little bit apprehensive. Whereas DRX, I'm just happy to see that individually these players look a lot better. I think they still have some of the same issues, which is more the macro, you know, walking up to the objective when you shouldn't. But individually, it does also not look good.
And some fancy feet there from the Diana. I liked it a lot.
It's nice. It's a good little proto bell.
Gets himself out of the way. The Grump is secured there by Canner, and it feels like T1 are continuing to keep that pressure up pretty effectively. So far, passing the test, like you were saying, but still, there is a lot of the test to go. You know, this is it's an exam that lasts quite some time. Maybe not as long as their one against Nongshim, which was, of course, our 7th longest game in the LCK of all time.
You had to bring it up.
Well, we had to, right? They certainly did like to play some slow and steady League of Legends, but unfortunately, it was steadily towards a loss, which ain't exactly what you want, as we are getting a lot of items on the screen to the right there. There's some very strange things happening right now as far as our graphics are concerned, but I'm having a good time having a look at all of the pop-ups.
Or the one item spicy and hit across the board. Only Kingen is a little bit behind, but we'll hit that
There were
shortly.
definitely some item spikes. The item spikes happened all at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, with left side as well, it was like 3 plated steel caps and a Brazos claw, I think.
I like how excited we got for the plated steel caps as well. That's definitely good.
Maybe it was like one of those 2 for the price of 1 deals.
Yeah. Like at all of the Korean convenience stores.
Yeah.
They do very much like those multi-buy offers.
It would be great, you know, if that's like kind of a random rotating thing where sometimes items are just cheaper and it would influence drafts.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help balance.
We're not talking about balance, we're talking about fun here, Atlas. Come on. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, Teddy going to get snagged there by the piercing arrow. Need to make sure as many of those land there from Bao. Of course, this was our key matchup, which is an interesting thought to be had, right? So that's just where it is. I think Pyoshik versus Cuz is another big one. Of course, both of them having worn the DRX jersey before. As Faker moves down here towards bottom side, they will lose that turret, but he should be able to catch that wave. As DRX looking to pick up another dragon for free. I just don't know about this anti-dragon playstyle that T1 has.
This one I'm still moderately on board with, although also not really. If they give up the next one, I am getting incredible. Like I am very unhappy again, and it's pretty hard to make me unhappy, you know. Generally,
you're a pretty happy-go-lucky guy.
I am able to find the positives in many a situation, but I do not want to see T1 give over Soul Point. Soul Point has been something that we've been outspoken about because it feels like 1 out of like 2 free games is still setting up playing King in here, but he should be fine with his Ignite all available. Where it's like, oh, the game is looking great, and then you give up Soul Point, but it's fine, we get Baron, and then you push, and then you lose, and then they get Soul, and then you're like, wait.
We've seen it happen many times.
So many times, and I don't want it anymore. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life, you know?
No, we don't want that. Absolutely don't. That's a 2-for-1 special once again in the mid lane with that piercing arrow. Like that one a lot. Steady and Carrier getting chunked just a little bit. We managed to avoid the next one, but DRX just will take care of this lane. As the poke not quite connecting. Looks like Teddy and Carrier should be okay. Just keeping things in order. Faker pushes out the bottom wave towards that inner turret completely. Solka doing the same thing, or attempting to, on the top side.
And as if just general Souls being strong enough wasn't enough of an incentive for T1 to try and play more proactive throughout the next dragon. It's an Infernal Drake, and you can look at the DRX come and go, it's Renekton, you know, it's Lethality Varus, it's a Nidalee. I can assure you, if the champions get an Infernal Soul, that poke is just going to be always relevant, no matter the situation, and it's going to make T1's life infinitely harder, because while they have Kana, they don't have a tank in the traditional sense, they don't have someone who can reliably eat these spares and be fine, and of course the arrows from Bao are always going to be a nuisance, whether or not you have someone to tank them. So T1, it's fine to give up this Drake, but we keep going back to it because it's such an important part of the current meta. Right? we've seen how powerful these souls can be, and now the side lane.
You saw Fred at Brion yesterday, right? If you
Yes.
got a monopoly on the dragons, you win. That's what happened.
Dragon
While we
Slayer
saw.
ulti.
Yeah. Brings a tear to your eye,
It really does.
much like Umpty's.
Aw.
Last night, of course, man has a lot of pressure on him, doing very, very well. If you missed that series, certainly a very likable team. Good old Fred at Brion. And let's hope that T1's going to take a leaf out of their book and start trying to kill some of these dragons, because so far it has been all about DRX on that front.
I feel a little bit tricked. I was treated to a lot of action and cross-map plays early on here.
Yeah, things were working,
Now,
weren't they? And now we're taking a bit of a timeout.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a lunch break right now as far as the action is concerned.
Taking it easy.
Yep. Did we once again break the overlay towards the top? Yeah. It's interesting. Wonder when that happened. Wasn't actually paying too much attention.
It was around the Drake. I think there was some issues with that.
Anticipating another 70-minute game, I guess, because that was the last time I saw that break.
Oh no.
As, yep, Shirley going to hop on into the mid lane. She'll be able to take a big chunk out of this turret, but otherwise not too much happening. Gwen just shoving there towards the bottom side, playing some of that 1-3-1 or 1-4 style of play here. As Faker will catch that wave and hope that Gwen doesn't do too much damage, and she won't. Not going to be able to do too much extra there because, of course, Teddy and Kerry are rotating over. Some vision there towards the top side of the map for T1, but it's all pretty defensive. And we don't like defensive. We want a little bit more action. We want a little bit more doing stuff. T1 had some really good tempo and momentum earlier on, and that has since dissipated. And yeah, we're playing some ping pong.
We're just
You
throwing
man,
waves.
Did you have a table tennis table as a child or anything like that? Play some ping pong yourself?
Well, not myself, but I had one friend who did, and it was also a popular camping pastime, you know, all the kids playing around the table, running around and playing.
Camping and playing ping pong. I've never
It's
been to like a place where I could
incredibly
camp
popular.
and play ping pong. That's cool.
Unlike
like in a caravan park or something like that?
No, French campings, right? So you set up your tent and then you go to the communal area and there's ping pong tables everywhere. And pétanque, which is like, you know the game where you throw iron balls and then you need to get it to the small...
Oh, we call it
wooden
bocce.
one? Oh, I haven't heard that one, but that's probably
Or
exactly
lawn
the same
bowls.
game. But, Atlas, you know what is about to spawn here soon.
Is it the
It's action!
oh, action's going to be spawning.
Yes, it's the action Drake.
The fire action.
Hopefully.
Well, it is currently Teddy just chilling in that mid lane, trying to catch this minion wave that's heading on forward, and it looks like DRX don't want to wait for the Drake. As, okay, Cuz just going to engage onto King, and some needlework comes down as Canna looking for it. Does manage to get in there as Faker there to follow up, and Teddy dashing on forward, able to get these autos working. Bow's already dead. Sulkin's been taken down, and this is the T1 we've been looking for. There's the curtains, and my goodness, Teddy is angry after these last few games. That's going to be the long range as he takes down King, and the Drake is going to follow suit, and T1 see what else they can get now after almost an ace.
We gave T1 a little bit of flack. Cuz has heard it, Atlas, and he decides to dive right in, as that is some incredibly dominant play coming from T1, and exactly what we want. This kind of composition cannot afford to sit back and just wait and do nothing. It took a while, but they recognized their window. They recognized, okay, we can't give up this Drake, not again. And DRX, unfortunately, when that engage actually comes through, you need to be very, very ready for it. You need to be able to kite back reliably, and it's really Cuz that starts this off, because it feels counterintuitive to engage this hard on the Gwen, but it opens her up to not really being in the fight, right? And that creates so much space for the rest of T1, who use their several ultimates to go in incredibly deep. Kana in particular just uses one of the DRX members as a nice way into the team fight, and while all of that was happening, Teddy wasn't even touched, not even remotely. Also had already finished a Lord Dominic second there, and while it isn't, I don't think it's a super general item to go second on Jhin. I really like it because you know that DRX is just going to itemize for armor, right? Because the only AP source is Diana. Not going to itemize for that. You're playing into Set and Nocturne, and it makes Jhin a little bit less bad at getting through these beefy boys.
I like it a lot. I also really loved that I saw the Deadly Flourish coming down. I'm like, oh, Teddy's a little bit far away. He's not really going to be able to do too much. And then I see him from the top of the screen, Gale forcing in to just annihilate everyone. And that's what we want to see here from T1 and from Teddy as well, after, you know, kind of throwing his life away earlier on. And afterwards, just sniping everyone down towards the end of that team fight. Really great to watch. So T1 in a really good spot right now. Currently about 4,000 gold in the lead. A little bit under that, but 8-3 as far as the kill score is certainly what we want to see. And Teddy starting to do a lot of damage. That is Gale Force plus the Rapid Fire Cannon. And the Lord Dominic's, he's got a lot of damages.
Yeah, he just finished another one. As if 2 items wasn't enough. He's like, well, I got a bunch of kills. I am now incredibly fed. And as T1, need to be a little bit mindful, okay? Even though the hard negation is amazing, paranoia!
Teleport to come in from King to try and defend this inner turret is going to do so, but getting that teleport off both of the solo laners is very important. The last teleport from Solka was towards the Baron because, of course, no vision available for DRX as in goes Faker. Solar Flare doesn't find too much joy as there is the Chains of Corruption. Solka trying to get on forward, but there's no follow-up. And now Solka going to get stunned up. The Deadly Flourish doing work as Becca. Okay, you got to keep that door up in front of your Crocodile, but he is going to be okay for the moment. Last bullet not going to be enough, as Teddy says. Yeah, my 4th bullet though, that one hurts. All right, T1 just back away. Looks like some resets to come in as we have Canna finishing off his Sterix.
And it's the amount of restraint we haven't really seen from T1. I want to say in the entirety of summer, maybe in their match against Damwon Kia, but look, identifying that Change of Corruption comes through, then peeling back and not going into aggressively, which definitely is something that you'd be kind of tempted to do, because there was Flash and Ultimate available, right? There's a showstopper, but they don't really need to fight it. They don't really need to throw. There's not really a reason for them. They forced the teleport from King in, and that's something that I wanted to go into, is that no one, even with the state of the game right now, I think wins the 1v1 straight up against Kingen when he's in the sideline. Has gone for Nash's Tube as well. It's going to get tankier and more of a nuisance to deal with.
Yep.
So forcing out a teleport is actually super huge for T1 because it relieves so much of the side laning pressure that the Gwen might otherwise have. Now she's forced to join the rest of the team. Faker and Kana both have teleports, so there's no such restraints for them, and allows T1 to set up a great side lane state going into this next Drake. And as the DRX, their topside vision on the map is pretty good. Maybe you want to go for a risky play on the Baron. It's not great, but I feel
flippin' time? You reckon it's flippin' time?
Well, with the state of the game right now, I think that giving T1 another objective and maybe a kill or two is also going to be the end of your story in this game as DRX. So it's not great, maybe.
Stemming the bleeding certainly could be an idea, as we do have 22 seconds on that Drake.
It's more like cutting off your own arm and then trying to like beat your opponent with it, right? And hoping it works, because it's not a plan with a lot of longevity.
We're out of weapons, quick!
We need to get something going.
Oh, that's bleak. That is very bleak.
It is.
As, okay, speaking of which, Faker going on in here as Solar Flare doesn't get too much work done as Faker's staying alive for so long. Bow's in trouble. The Haymaker will do it. Faker eventually falls down, but it kind of feels like he's done his job. Solka going to be taken out of this one as well. So far, it's going to be a pretty even trade. Both solo lanes, though, dead, and it's Bow that's dead instead of Kingen. So what can Teddy do to answer this one? Looks like right now they're going for a bit of a disengage just because no Moonfall available anymore. Teddy at full health. No more fighting.
So he just needs to hit an auto on someone, and then they are basically immediately out of contention. Ooh, this is a big one though, because that was a bit of overextension. We see that Faker has a stopwatch available as well. Yep, that was that's what happens when the 4 nearly hit you. Yep. And this is really good that T1 is actually able to get this, because I think DRX could have looked for it, but this is where the teleport disadvantage comes in, right? Because Soka won't be there in time. Kingen might be, but he doesn't have the teleport available, whereas we now see Faker, Kana, both going to use those. They recognize we need to get this objective.
Yep, they are going to be able to secure it as well. So 2 dragons apiece, T1 with a set. Couple of those Infernals, certainly going to be feeling good, as they could stack up 4 of them this game. That would be a very hefty Infernal Soul, as we're going to get the replay once again. Faker just going in real deep, and this fight just gets split up into a couple of different portions.
And I think that Faker and Kana could have, if the rest of the team was more on the same page, could have just stopwatched But now seeing it again, I'm actually happy he didn't, because he would have died anyway. The rest of the team was too busy dealing with the Renekton. And that was just expertly played by DRX, right? You had the Locket coming from Becca, the immediate exhaust on top of Faker, Bao using his summoners to get away from there. So all in all, it did actually work out decently for DRX, but they don't get the objective because the members from T1 that were still alive are just too big of a threat, right? As long as Teddy's alive, you're never going to feel good.
The summoner spell advantage also very, very powerful here for T1, as you mentioned earlier. I think that is definitely a great way for T1 to play around what was an even fight that they just win by default. And I love it when that happens. It just shows that they understand the game state and they're able to work out just how many risks they're capable of taking. And this is something that T1 used to be good at, but hasn't so far been as adept at in the LCK for summer. So good to see. Now it looks like the sights are set on the Baron. Carry a good sidestep to avoid the spear from Kyoshik. Let's see what's going to eventuate here. Is Teddy looking for something? Just wants to shoot people.
Just wants to get an auto off, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the things about Jhin is, like, it feels really good when you can auto, but also into things like the Brom, it makes it so much harder for you. Gwen has immunity, Renekton in of itself isn't the scariest thing, but it's mainly the setup he provides for the rest. As T1, they are going to start off this Baron. The poke is strong though from DRX. Faker coming in from the flank.
Yep, taking a lot of damage is the Baron. Might be dead just pretty soon. You can see down to 3,000 health. Now the Paranoia just to buy them space. They're bursting down the Baron, and DRX just had to give it up. No options there whatsoever, as now Kingen getting chunked. Even the needlework coming out, and gets absolutely nothing for it.
Defensive paranoias always make me happy, Atlas. It's a tool that is so versatile. The denial of vision means that as DRX, if you actually do go in there, it's like it's not even a flip, right? It's like a 100-sided die, and you're just
you're
desperately rolling
for the
it.
20, and it's there's not even a 20 there. It just goes it goes up to 19, and then adds another 19.
Yeah, that's
real sad.
Just not really anything you can do. And it's T1's good mid-game that we were a little bit scared when the early game tempo turned into not a lot in the mid-game, but now Teddy has 4 items, and Jhin can be one of those champions where it feels like he doesn't have the biggest impact on the game. Generally, I can assure you that with his current items and form, he will be
These are very powerful items.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can say what you want about Rapid Fire Cannon, but it is certainly helping out his crit quotient. And so things are absolutely fine.
Yeah. He's terrifying, and that goes for a lot of members on T1. Even Kana, who's getting close to the Titanic Hydra, is going to have absolutely absurd haymakers now. It's just a question, or rather, can T1 play this out cleanly? There is a lot of vision available for DRX, who are looking for a collapse.
I like these rotations, though, for T1. They're moving as a 4-man unit. They're allowing Kana to now just live in the opened up space. Sulker is going to be there to try and answer. This T1 just going to step on back, allow these minion waves to gather up again, and look for that pressure one more time. It looks like they're going to have to make another trek through the jungle to try and clear out vision. As Blastcone is going to get Cuz over as Teddy gets chunked. This poke landing can certainly turn the tides on these situations, and it looks like that has bought the space for DRX. See how it works, right? We saw 2 different Varuses yesterday. The one that did really well and the one that didn't. And hopefully Bao can get things together as this game goes on, because you can really turn things by landing that poke effectively.
It's the timing, but the fact that T1 got the 2 Drakes means that this isn't the situation that we've talked about. It happens a lot where it's just one fight and needs to go right. Is okay.
Wow. That's called revenge right there.
Yeah, that's for every Jhin who has ever been hit by a spear ever. Like, take that, Nidalee.
Yeah, you jerk.
And we already talked about why it's bad for the DRX comp to fall behind in terms of the damage that they have available. But another problem that we didn't really talk about is this is a great siege comp, right? When they're playing up, when they're the one with control, it feels amazing because it's hard to engage into. But they're also don't have great engage themselves, and you saw that on the bot side, right? Like, how do you force something here besides maybe Solka teleporting in? It's not great. You need a land poke, and T1, they're looking for the hard engage.
Well, Kurt Cole going to come through here as Teddy's hunting for Bao. That backline. Core shot will just be doored as TWon is just going to take care of that Drake. The old paranoia teleport can come through here from Faker as he is going to get on through his Cuz will lock down the Drake. And finally, Faker is going to turn up. He takes a lot of damage as we've got some mist down. T1, they keep everyone alive for the longest time as Sulka will fall at the end. Carrier, he's the one to go down for T1, but he will be the only one. And it's only Becca who survives on the side of DRX. I have a feeling this one is just over. Look at all of that fire underneath T1 right now.
And that is 3 Infernal Drakes, a 1-team fight, and Kana immediately teleports towards the top side of the map to slam down some turrets, crucially finished the Titanic Hydra before the fight. You saw how much that Flash Haymaker did, and it's Faker coming in from the back as well. T1 looking like the T1 we saw against DRX Kia, and that then strictly disappeared for a couple of matches, but here again, this first game against DRX, they are finally back.
Yep, really great stuff. Congratulations to T1 taking down DRX.